Okay, so today, yeah, we are going to do file handling. But before we move into file handling, I have a bunch of weird stuff I wrote here prior to the class. So some of these things here, let me just comment them out. So is actually the first thing is actually we are going to finish up with strings. So if you watch the last video that was on Saturday's video, we did a bit of string formatting, how to split a string, how to do some weird stuff to a string. So I'll revise it and then we'll continue with our file stuff for those of us that didn't see that class. So we all know what a string is. So if I create a string now, let me say name, and I equate that name to let me say let me use another name like Germany. Okay. So I told you that I give you guys a lot of tips. So there are some how will I call it? There are some this string has some um how will I put it? There are some actions you can perform on a string. So like they are called methods, but they are actions you can perform on a string. So they are like functions in a way when you want to use them. Remember how we want to, when you want to call a function, you just call the function name and all those kind of stuff. So methods are like actions you can perform on a string. We talked about them. That you can do something like this. You can decide to print out name. Let me say name dot upper. So what this will actually do is that it will print out uppercase of the name, all those kind of stuff. We can do name dot capitalize, we can do name dot find. Let me say name dot find. Let me what am I looking for? I want to look for m. So this will return the index of the letter inside the find method. So yeah, index 3. All those kind of stuff. So there are methods, there are plenty of them that you can use on a string. So today we are going to look at string, how to pass a string. Like if you want to pick data from a string, how do you do it? Okay, so that's actually the small code I was writing here, so that just how to pass a string, this thing. So now let me give you an example of a string. So let's call it a sentence. So let's say we have a sentence called sentence. We have a sentence now, for example, and that sentence is, let me just copy the sentence here from Steven, blah blah blah. Copy this whole thing, copy the sentence here up to here. So Control C, I'll put it inside. Control V, and delete this. So we have a sentence as our data. So sorry. So all this is stored inside here. So all this is stored inside the variable sentence. So now, let's say for example, I want to bring out, I want to split it, but I want to look for, how, for example, how you detect if something is an email or if the email is correct, like when you write gmail.com, or if you don't write gmail.com, the prompt will tell you that it's not a correct email. So you can, something like that is what we are trying to perform now. So now, I'm going to be using the find method to run it to showcase how it works. Because the string has a method called find. So when we say sentence dot find any particular thing, it should return the position of that thing. So when we say sentence dot, so I'll have to print it out. So when I say print sentence dot find, you already know what will happen here. Sentence dot find. What am I looking for? I'm looking for this at guy. So if I run it now, it should print out the position of at is at number 21. So okay, so we know that this at here is at number 21. So now what I want to do is I want to split this this thing. This not like split, but I want to take out something from this our string here that we have and store it in a new variable. Okay, so um so what I'm going to do, the next thing so what I want to now do is I want to create a variable to store the position of at. So I can say, I've actually written this code before. I can say position 1 is equal to sentence dot find. So sentence dot find where at is, and let me see this to at. So Now it will store in this position 1, it will store 21 there. Now I will need to let me just I don't need to print it, but I can say the second. So I can now say position 2. Position 2 is equal to what? Sentence dot find what? Open bracket. Now I'm going to tell it what I want to find actually. So the find method takes in two parameters. It can take in two parameters or two arguments if you want, because it works like functions. If you remember, we treated functions, we said that those parameters you pass into a function are like arguments. So these methods, they are kind of like functions too, or basically they are functions that you can call on a string, but Python calls it methods just for that specific purpose. So it can take in two arguments. The first argument can be what you are looking for, and where you want to start to look for it from. So that's basically what it is. So if I say look for art, look for this, and I want you to start at maybe the index of index. Let me see index. So index 20. No, don't throw an error. It's already throwing an error. It's not work. What did it say? Index method. Slice must be integers or none, or have an index method. Okay. So I'll have to pass in like a variable to it. So now what I want to pass here, remember someone is trying to join. Someone trying to join. Okay. Taiwo joined. Okay, so remember initially we said position 1 is equal to sentence dot find at. So what's going to be stored here is the position of this at guy. So the position of at is actually 21 when we printed it out. So now what I want to do is, this guy is saying is sentence dot find, look for what? An empty space, and start wherever position 1 is. So let me say start wherever position 1 is, and if we run it, it will store it there. So what I want to now do is I want to print that position 2. So you see what will happen now when I print position 2. Print position 2, run it. It should give us 31. So the reason it's giving us 31 is that after the at, the next time you see a space is this place here, and the position of that space is 31 actually, because at was 21. So if you count from here to this place, you should hit 31 at exactly this spacing that you can see here. So what I now want to do is I want to print out whatever is between this place and whatever is between, where is it again, position 1 and position 2. That's basically what I want to print out. Someone is trying to join. Okay, Venza has joined us. Please though, you have to, we've already gone a bit far. I don't know if I should start re-explaining. Trusty.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions? Should I re-explain because of Venza that just joined?
Sorry, my network has been fluctuating. Sorry about it.
Okay, it's fine. All right. Give my screen back to my screen. So we are still on some string passing. We're trying to do a lot of like pass strings and all. So yes. So where were we? We are here. Okay. All right. So now we have the positions, the two positions we are looking for, position 1 and position 2. Any questions? Okay.
Go ahead. I'm following on this side.
Hello?
Go ahead. I'm following on my laptop as well.
Okay. So now,
No question here.
what we just try to achieve at this point is to get two positions. Okay, so don't get confused. The first thing we wanted to do is to get position one, which is the position of the art. Okay, the second thing we try to do is get the second position, which is find the where the first space occurred after the art string, after this symbol here. So that's what we did. Look for the space after position one. That's basically what Python is, we're asking Python to do here. So now that we have these two positions, what we want to do is we want to now pick out whatever is in between those two positions. Okay, so to do that, we are going to, if you remember how to do string splitting, we're going to print out a new variable now. So let's call that new variable, let me call it what now? Let me say address. But that thing looks like an address. So let's call that new variable address. And address will be equal to what? So address will be equal to what was our main sentence. So our sentence, then we are going to do string splitting. So we're going to split it using position 1, starting from position 1 to position 2. Okay, so if I run it now, I want to print what I want to print here. I want to print the address. So if I run it, you see what will happen. So look at what it printed. If you look well, we printed the art, then blah 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 blah, blah and stopped where? Stopped right here where the space is. So you see, it started from the art and stopped at. If you don't want to include the art, it's very simple. All you need to do is position 1, you just say plus 1, and position 2. So, and if you run it, so you see what happened. We didn't include the art anymore. So what we were able to do is we were able to find points in a string. We were able to find some certain characters in a string and use those characters as a marker to now select what we want to pick out of a particular sentence or file or anything. So we are still going to use this. You are still going to use this a lot when you are looking at files and you want to find something in a file from one point to another kind of stuff. So I just wanted to show you guys. You need to look this up and do practice a bit more on it, because you'll not just get it once you see it. Seeing it is not enough. You need to actually write the code to understand how it works very, very well. So let me just remove this one. I think up to this point. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's it for how to passing strings. That's basically the basics of how to pass a string. So this, all you need to do is find where you want to start, find where you want to stop, and then split the string with those two positions. You can actually manually do it by counting. So you can count, you can come instead of all these things we did was so that we don't have to manually count. So you can count, if you start counting from here, when you can count and okay, this is 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 29, 30, 31. So as you can see, it's still the same thing. We 21 to 31, that's what we basically did. So you can manually do it, but instead of manually doing it, just use markers like space bar, art. You can even use like dash to find a dash after, and then print everything after the dash, basically that kind of stuff. So yeah, those are some physical applications of how you can use the string passing to perform certain tasks or on a string. Okay, so the next thing is also something about string. So the next is also string formatting. So I'll show you a bit of string formatting now, and then we will move to files and wrap up files to where we can in 30 minutes, and that's it. Okay, so any questions so far on what we just looked at now? Is there any questions so I can address them before moving forward? If there's something you don't understand, you need more clarification on, you'll just tell me so I can re-explain.
So far it's clear, it's good.
Okay, all right.
Good.
So
Yeah.
the next concept I'm going to show you guys is more abstract. Is a I would say, yeah, it's more abstract. So is when you want to print dynamic strings. In fact, I was solving an algorithm today, and this was actually the answer to it. Like, just knowing this, knowing that this exists, is you'll be able to solve that algorithm. So let me just copy it. I think I wrote it up here, so I don't have to waste time. Copy it from here and explain here. So all right. So now, if I run this, I have to indent all these ones. Comment. So if I run this, you see what we'll see. Look at how the output says. The output says in 3 years I have spotted 0.1 camels. So if I come here and I change this 3 to 4, and I change this 0.1 to 5, and change camels to dogs, guess what will happen? In 4 years I have spotted 5 dogs. Did you see how dynamic I can make my strings? So remember, you can make your strings dynamic using the f string, because that's what we're using when we started the class. You can say print and open brackets, then you come here and you say in front of the bracket here, using f strings. You have to write f first, then the string, then anything you want to write inside there, you can put your, you have to put it inside this curly bracket, maybe your variable name, like maybe whatever your variable name is, you put inside the bracket. So that's also a way of formatting. So this is also another way of string formatting. So yes. So the thing is that for this particular method is more rigid. It's actually, you see these notations there where I see ampersand, d, percentage g, percentage s, they are actually um, required. Someone's trying to join. Hello. So okay, yeah. So if I change this g to something else, I'll send you guys a link to the article to f to throw an error. Okay. Okay, it didn't throw an error. It's printed on that. You see what it's printed a different 5.0000000. If I change it to u, it will print something completely different. So okay, it didn't print completely. Let me say GA. So let me start to print. Yeah, I threw an error now. So there's an article containing all the formatting, all the like the different signs and what they mean. But let me just go back. Control Z. All right. So this was to be 0.1. Okay. So now the first one represents when you're integer, the second one represents float, and the third one is string. So that's basically, these are the three basic ones: D for integer, G for float, and S for string. Whenever you are formatting something and you want to pass in a list of values to it, that's how you pass it. So it's more, it's very rigid. It's like, this is actually an old way of doing some of these things. You can use the f string, it still works. I came across this and I just said let me show it to you guys in case you come across an algorithm or you're solving a problem where you want to quickly insert stuff into your string very fast. So I think this is way faster than using the f string, or consumes less memory, one of the two. Someone is trying to join the class. Okay, so yeah, I'll send a link to the article. So I think I have it on the book itself. Let me just send it to the book, or I'll copy it out. So I came across it when I was going through the book. I didn't initially I didn't even want to treat, not like I didn't want to treat it, but when I first learned Python, I didn't learn about this thing. So when I was reading the book and I came across it, I said, okay, we should I think you guys should also know about it, not just knowing about the F string. In case you come across it and you will not be just, wow, I've never seen this before kind of stuff. So yeah, the D is for, remember, D is for integer, G is for float, and S is for string. So if let me we'll probably play with this later when we are writing algorithms, when we start taking challenges and all. So but I just wanted to show you guys what it is, so you don't feel, if you see it somewhere you don't know what it is. Okay. Yeah, so for now, that's it on string, at least basic string stuff. Let's not go too advanced. This is kind of an advanced string stuff. So I think that's it for now on the string part. So let's format. Go away. Going to mess up my network. Okay. All right. So sorry, someone called me. Someone was trying to join. Sorry, someone was trying to join class. Okay.
I'm carrying the fan now.
I'm reading.
I'm not using the fan.
I'm reading class.
Yeah?
I'm in class.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Okay, so yes, just finish up. Now we are going to move into files. What's how to open a file, how to close file. Well, we're not going to closing file, but how to open a file at least we should look at that. So I've gone through the luxury of creating a file here called email, and inside it is a bunch of email, almost 1,000 lines of code, not code, but email and stuff like that. So we are going to be going through this file because this is actually today's someone's joining. Okay. So this file, we are going to try and pick out stuff from the file because it's actually what we are supposed to do today, not strings. I just try to talk about strings a bit. So today we are going to be looking into files and how to read files and all. So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to open the file and we are going to count how many lines a file has. So we are going to open the file and count how many lines that particular file has inside it. Right. So let's begin. So now, um, so we have the name of the file is email. So I'm going to, so remember to do anything in Python, you need to store it in a variable. Everything must be stored inside a variable. Up to now, everything we've done, we stored it somewhere, input, whatever it is, we store it somewhere, you know. So now we're going to create a file. Let me call it file1. I will say file1 is equal to. So what's the name of this thing? So the name of this email. So I'm going to say open. So you really see when I say open, it's showing file here, showing mode, buffering, encoding, errors, all those ones. We are only concerned with the first thing here, the file. Later we'll look at the mode. We'll visual this buffering part. So yeah, open, and what's the name of my file? I'll put it inside the string. I'm opening what's email. No, I listen. It is like a guide or something. So I'll just I don't need the guide for now. So email, and if I say print file1, so you're using this print a lot. So print file1, what do you think it will run? It will print out that there's a file, there's a file here, and this is the encoding of that file. So this it means the file exists. So it actually opens the file. Okay. Now, if you want to read what is inside that file, there's a method called .read. So when we say print out file1.read, guess what will happen? It will read the whole file for us and to print it out. It's to basically print out the whole file. So this is the whole file right here. That's printed it out. You get. So like this already, you can if you can print out a whole file, it means you can look through a file and look for things inside that file. So the next thing we'll do now, we've been able to we can open a file, we can print out the content of a file. So the next thing we want to now do is to count how many lines that file has. So let's count how many lines the file has. So let's create a variable called, so we're going to create a variable now called count, and at first it's going to be created to 0. Now, how do you loop through stuff? Remember how we talked about iteration. So when you want to cycle through any particular thing, let it be it a list, a file, a string, whatever. As far as that thing has elements inside it, multiple elements inside it, you should be able to loop through or iterate through them. And one of the easiest way to iterate in Python is using a for loop. So we can iterate through this file by saying, so let me see. A file is made of lines, so we can say for each line in file1. Remember, this variable name can be anything you want to call it. It can be anything at all. So for each line in file one, you want to perform an action. You want to do something. I want to say, what I want to do is I just want to increment the variable of count. So count plus equals, so plus equals 1. And then after doing that, I want to print. So after doing that, I want to print what? I want to print count. Yeah. So now, I want you guys to understand how a for loop works. So I said for each line in file 1, count plus 1, and then I came outside the loop. Remember, see the loop. Anything inside this place is inside the loop, and this print is outside the loop. It's not under the for line. It's not under it. It's outside. So what it means is, after this after this has finished running, it will now exit the loop and come and print out whatever count is after it has run. I don't know how many times it wants to run. If I wrote this thing, if I indented it inward like this, what will happen? So let me just run it. So yep, it printed, for each time it counted, it printed the number it counted to. 1, 2, like that. But that's not what I want. I want it to print once after it has finished counting. So if I run it now, guess what? Boom. It will run this, it will count, and then when it exits this for loop, immediately it exits the for loop, Python will look for the next highest indentation level, which is here, and it will run the statement that it finds there, which is print count. So by that time, count has finished incrementing and it's done. So to just print it out, and you have count on, count plus 1, and then you have it here. So that's basically how it works. So yeah, we've been able to. So now we've been able to open a file. One, good check. We've been able to print out the things inside that file. We've also been able to count how many lines are in that file. Abi? So now, so what we now want to do is, I want to also show you how something you should avoid when working with files. So it's good to, if you don't know, if your file is too large, you can actually overload your IDE's memory. So for example, when I said, let me delete all this stuff here. So when I said file 1 is equal to open email, and I can now say I can create another instance or another variable. Let me call it mail, and I say mails is equal to file1 dot read. So what I'm doing now, I'm storing this whole file inside one single variable. Now that could be bad, because if the file is too large, it can overload the memory, your IDE's cache memory. I don't know, but memory overload will happen. So yeah, memory overloads can happen if your file is too large, but I don't think this file is too large. So when I say print, if I now say print what mails, guess what? It should print out that file for me again. Okay, what did it print? It actually printed this whole object. So file objects at blah 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 blah. Okay, so it's actually stored. Let me see, if I say print out mails, let me see that mails dot, let me do get dot functions on these mails. Dot what? One thing I can use. Mails dot is not string, it's not allowed. Okay. Well, my point, if you do this, what you're basically doing is you're storing a whole file inside one variable, and it can cause memory overload. So I wanted to know if I could print out the whole file by printing mails, but Python just printed out the objects and the position of the memory it's taking up. That's what you saw here. So this thing you are seeing here is actually the memory location on my system, where it stores that whole file, or where it stores this variable. All right. So I can actually print the length. So let me see if I can try and print the length of the file. So it should show us, if I say print length, then open brackets, close brackets, it should print out something. What do you see? Object type function method has no length. Okay. How weird. It's supposed to print. Okay, printed. I was wondering. I didn't put this curly bracket here. I didn't throw it didn't throw an error. So let me see what will happen if I now print out the initial stuff I was trying to show you guys. Should work now. I hope. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, just to prove, I was just trying to. So you can actually store the whole file inside Mills, and when we printed Mills, we printed everything, and when we printed the length, it showed us the length of the whole file. That's about 20,000 characters or so. So yeah, we've been able to perform some simple actions on a file: read it, print out how many lines it has. Now the next thing we want to do is to search for a particular stuff, like a particular something in a file. So if a file starts with something and stuff like that. So what we are now going to do now is I'll just remove all this thing. And so remember, you want to search through a file means you want to go through that file, like loop through that file, and perform an action on each time you loop through. So we can now use our for loop again, very handy tool in Python, one of the most handy tools in Python itself. So for line, you can say for line in what now file one. That's for each line in file one you go through. If um if the line, so remember the variable now. So each time it goes through a line, it stores inside this line variable. So the next line to replace whatever was there before. So if the line dot, let me see if I can do starts with, yep, I can do starts with. So line starts with, let me even go through this file and see what we have there. So we have received, we have from. So let's say, who is that from? Say yeah. So this, let's use this from. So I want to print out anytime I see from. So I know from who. That's basically what I want to print out. So where is my back to my launch? So I'll create a string here. What is the string inside here? So if it starts with from, I have to match it exactly, capital letter FORM. So from my guy here. So what do I want to do? I want you to print out that line. So print out whatever line that it is. So now if I run this, guess what? Yeah. So look at it. So what happened? From all the from Stephen again, from Lois, from Ziquan, from blah blah blah, all those kind of stuff. So what else is in that file? Let's look at it. We have that email file. We have received. So let me take received now and see if the line starts with received. Control C. Go to my launch and replace this from here with what the received. If we run it, we see received from Nakamura and all. So already you are learning how to look for certain stuff, certain unique elements in a file. You can be looking for just an email, and you know what an email. Okay, what you can let me see. You can look for the arts. If you want to look for an email, how will you know? That is a bit more complex. We can use regular expressions to do that. But when we get to regular expressions, we'll tell you how to match passwords, how to match email, all those things. So, but already we've been able to open a file, read a file, save, store it in a variable, loop through a file. Now we've also been able to print out stuff from a file, like search through a file and print out a particular variable that we are looking for. All right. We've already reached 30 minutes mark. We still have a lot of things we want to be able to, we're going to be able to do. But please, I would like to know if we have any questions so far before. I'm not even supposed to continue because it's already 34 minutes in. So, but yeah, please feel free to unmute your mic, ask questions, ask for applications and all that kind of stuff. Hello? Any questions? Okay. So if we understand today's class, it means already I can give an assignment. So today's assignment is a pretty practical one. Anybody can do this, even on your phone or on your laptop. You should be able to do it. Create a file, or I'll send you this file. I'll send this email file to the group. Okay, so you can import it into your environment. So remember, anything you're working with has to be in the same directory. So look at my directory space here. So you see, this is dummy to techie folder, and then this is my launch. This is what I'm running, and then this file is also right there, right next to it. So make sure your directory looks like this. The file and whatever and your code have to be in the same place, the same file. Your code and the file you want to read must be in the same folder. Okay, and yeah, before you can do any reading and writing and all those kind of stuff. So the assignment is basically, I'll send this email file and you guys will kind of practice with it and show me what you can do. Look through it, print out how many lines it has, look for, there are a lot of things to look for here, like by, you can see by, you can see Saturday, you can see a lot of things inside here you can look for. Like, you can see this greater than, so you can see that that's how it knows email. For anywhere an email occurred, it started with a greater, with this greater than, less than kind of stuff. So yeah, try to yeah, play with the file. I'll send it to you guys, and I'd like to see what you guys can do with it. So look through, bring out stuff from it, print it out, all those kind of stuff. Yeah, so tomorrow we'll continue with files, how to close files, how to create files, and how to even make user input. So you can decide what file to open via a user input. Tell the user what file do you want to open. User will type it. If it's correct, it will open the file. If it's wrong, to tell the user file does not exist. That kind of stuff. We'll do all those ones tomorrow. So today, yes, please let us. I'll just send it now. I'll be sending immediately the class ends. I'll be sending this to the group chat. I'll so that you guys can. This one is short, so it's easy to go through. 1 hour videos are kind of long for people, especially on YouTube. All right. So since there are no questions and I think we understand, I would think we should call it a day today. Okay. All right. All right. So remember to try and practice your code. Try and write code at least, even if it's not every day. And if you want to try out exercises, please go to hackerrank.com. Hackerrank.com. That's where I've been practicing on algorithms and all. So hackerrank.com, you get to practice from scratch, from basic stuff to more advanced programming stuff. You get to test your knowledge and to keep your head sharp. Okay. So HackerRank, I will also drop a link on that just now to the group, so you guys can try, have fun there too. All right, everybody, thank you very much for coming. See you in next class. All right.